While Israel, Egypt, and Babylon often dominate discussions of the Bible, few realize the crucial role played by Iran, known as Persia in biblical times. This ancient land wasn't just another empire. It was a nation chosen by God to influence the destiny of his people. From the lineage of Noah to the rule of Cyrus the Great, Iran's history is intricately woven into the fabric of the Bible. Prepare to be surprised, because what you're about to learn will change how you see Iran, not just as a modern country, but as a key player in God's unfolding plan for the world. To understand Iran's biblical roots, we must trace back to Noah's story and his descendants. After the Great Flood, Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, became the forefathers of all nations. According to Genesis 10, one of Japheth's sons, Madai, became the ancestor of the Medes. These Medes settled in the land we now know as Iran. Later, the Persians, also descending from the same region, rose to prominence and joined with the Medes to form the foundation of the Medo-Persian Empire, one of history's most powerful empires. This connection places the Iranian people in the biblical narrative from the early days following the flood, linking them to one of the oldest genealogies in the Bible and establishing their significant role in the history of God's people. Centuries later, Persia emerged as a powerful kingdom crucial to the biblical narrative. The Medes and Persians, united under Cyrus the Great, founded the Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian empire. At its peak, this empire stretched from the Indus River to North Africa, encompassing major regions mentioned in the Bible, including Israel, Babylon, and Egypt. Persia's importance extended beyond its military might. It was vital for fulfilling God's promises to the Israelites. In 586 BC, the Babylonian Empire, led by King Nebuchadnezzar, conquered Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, the center of Israelite worship and national identity, and exiled the people of Judah. The Israelites remained in Babylon for 70 years as prophesied by Jeremiah. Then came Cyrus the Great, a Persian king who conquered Babylon in 539 BC, changing everything. The book of Ezra begins with Cyrus's decree allowing the Israelites to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. Ezra 1:1-4 records Cyrus stating, "The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth and has appointed me to build a temple for him at Jerusalem in Judah." Remarkably, over a century earlier, the prophet Isaiah named Cyrus, a pagan king, as the one who would carry out God's will to restore Israel. Isaiah 44:28-45:1. In one of the most astounding moments in biblical history, Persia became an instrument of God's redemption for his people, marking a significant turning point for Israel and underscoring Persia's central role in God's divine plan. One of the most remarkable aspects of Persia's biblical legacy is the role of Cyrus the Great. In Isaiah 44:28, God refers to Cyrus by name more than 150 years before his birth, calling him his shepherd who will fulfill God's purposes. In Isaiah 45:1, Cyrus is even called God's anointed, a title usually reserved for Israelite kings. This title, typically reserved for Israelite kings, highlights the unique role Cyrus played in God's plan. How could a foreign pagan king be God's anointed? The answer lies in God's sovereignty and his ability to use anyone, even those outside his covenant people, to accomplish his will. Cyrus's decree for the Jews to return to their homeland and rebuild the temple was not just a political move. It fulfilled prophecy. Jeremiah had prophesied that the Babylonian captivity would last 70 years, Jeremiah 25:1-12-29:10, and Cyrus's rule marked the end of that period. The temple's reconstruction in Jerusalem, overseen by Zerubbabel with Cyrus's support, was a key step in Israel's restoration. God used Persia not only to defeat Babylon, the nation that oppressed Israel, but also to facilitate Israel's rebirth. This was a reminder to Israel and the world that God's plan surpasses any empire, and he can use unlikely figures to achieve his purposes. Persia's biblical role doesn't end with Cyrus and the temple's rebuilding. The book of Esther provides another example of Persia's role in protecting God's people. During King Xerxes' first reign, also known as Ahasuerus in the Bible, Haman, a Persian official, devised a plot to annihilate the Jews in the empire. Driven by hatred, Haman manipulated the king into issuing a decree permitting their annihilation. However, through divine providence, Esther, a young Jewish woman, became Persia's queen. Encouraged by her uncle Mordecai, Esther bravely revealed her Jewish identity to the king, pleading for her people's survival. Mordecai's words in Esther 4:14 are famous. "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther's courage led to a dramatic reversal. Xerxes ordered Haman's execution and issued a new decree allowing Jews to defend themselves. This story, recorded in Esther, is celebrated annually during Purim as a reminder of how God used Persia, and specifically Esther, to save the Jewish people. The story of Esther highlights divine providence and protection, once again demonstrating Persia's role in preserving Israel, a nation destined to bring forth the Messiah. The Bible places Persia at the heart of prophetic visions about world empires and God's ultimate plan for humanity. In the book of Daniel, we encounter visions of empires rising and falling, including Persia. Daniel lived during the Babylonian exile and served in both Babylonian and Persian courts. In Daniel 2, King Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a statue made of different materials, each representing a world empire. The statue's silver chest and arms symbolize the Medo-Persian Empire, which would succeed Babylon. Later in Daniel 7, Daniel sees 4 beasts representing successive empires. The second beast, a bear, symbolizes the Medo-Persian Empire's strength. In Daniel 8, a vision of a ram with 2 horns, one representing the Medes and the other the Persians, is offered. This symbolizes their combined power and vast conquests. However, a goat representing Greece and its king, Alexander the Great, eventually conquers Persia. These visions place Persia at the center of God's prophetic timeline, indicating its rise and fall as part of God's plan. While Persia fell to Alexander in the 4th century BC, its influence persisted during the New Testament era. By Jesus' birth, the Persian Empire had given way to the Greek and Roman empires. Yet Persia's cultural and governmental legacy continued to impact the ancient world. A mysterious connection to the New Testament is the story of the Magi, wise men who visited Jesus in Matthew 2. Many scholars suggest they were likely Persian and possibly Zoroastrian priests, part of ancient Persia's religious tradition known for astrology. The Magi's journey to worship the newborn king highlights Persia's enduring biblical connection. Despite Persia's fall, its wisdom, traditions influenced the ancient Near East. Persian scholars recognize the star signifying Jesus' birth. Persia's policy of religious tolerance, allowing various cultures to maintain their practices, influenced later empires, including Rome. This environment fostered Jewish communities, laying the groundwork for Christianity's spread. As we conclude this look into Persia's biblical role, we turn to Iran's future in prophecy. Many scholars see Iran, identified as Persia in prophecy, playing a significant end-times role. Ezekiel 38:39 describes a coalition, including Persia, allied with Gog of Magog and others in a battle known as the War of Gog and Magog against Israel in the last days. This prophecy predicts a confrontation between evil forces and God's people, with Israel at its center. While its exact nature and timing are debated, Persia's inclusion suggests Iran's ongoing spiritual significance. This prophecy, though subject to interpretation, raises intriguing questions about Iran's role in current geopolitical events and its potential significance in the future. Additionally, Daniel's prophecies about empires, including Persia, signal future events that may yet unfold.